Hello, hello, Leah Brathwaite here, coming to you from my car once again. I scratched my nose this morning. I was really hoping that I didn't take the skin off, but there it is, and we're on video, so that's life. But what I really want to share with you is not that. It's all about why it's so important to regulate your nervous system. And I want to share with you first a little story about the last 2 years and what a regulated nervous system has done for me. So I was traveling in Thailand up until February of 2020. And towards the end of February of 2020, I arrived in Vancouver with the intention of exploring the city as maybe a possibility of living here, because I had always wanted to live in Vancouver, and the timing was never really working out for me. I couldn't sell my house the first time. The second time I drove across the country from Ottawa to Vancouver and just had this inner knowing, this gut feeling that it wasn't quite right for me to move. So I ended up driving all the way back across the country and landed in Toronto. Stayed there for a couple of years. But in December of 2019, when my apartment was up for, the lease was complete, actually what happened was the owner wanted to move back into the apartment, so my lease was being ended. I was in a position of trying to figure out where I was going to live, what I was going to do. What I really thought I wanted was a sense of home, a sense of rootedness, this desire to find my person, make a home, just like be planted and rooted in one spot, because I had been moving for so long. I had just been going through this rapid transformation, and I really wanted a sense of stability and community and home and like connection. So that was my intention, and I was trying to make it happen in Toronto. And what I was realizing was nothing was vibing, nothing was feeling good, nothing was feeling aligned. I was really forcing this energy because of this desire that I had in mind, and it wasn't working. So finally, after a conversation with one of my really dear friends, the idea of, instead of forcing something that doesn't seem to be flowing, what if I brought to the forefront another dream that I had had many years before and had never really gotten the chance to experience? And that was to travel, to work abroad, to explore countries and build my business on the go. I had always wanted to be able to teach and to travel and to explore and to live this free life. And this was an opportunity to take advantage of that. I didn't have anything holding me down. I didn't have any reason not to. It felt like this really exciting and expansive experience. And it also felt incredibly terrifying because I had never done it before. I didn't have an example of what it would be like to just pack everything up and travel the world and build my business and work remotely and travel solo for so long on my own. But in my heart, in my gut, in my soul, it felt like the next right step. Even though in my mind, I was thinking, well, how is that going to get me any closer to this desire to have this rooted sense, this community, this like home? But I followed my soul. I listened to that guidance. I ended up traveling in Asia for about 3 months. And then in February of 2020, landed back in Vancouver on an intuitive hit and found a place to call home temporarily, just to scope things out. And that's a story for another day, but that was the landing point that really anchored in this desire to live in BC. The time was right. The feeling was right. Everything was in alignment. And magically, this incredible opportunity appeared for me to be able to rent a place fully furnished for at least 6 months. So after staying in Vancouver for 2 weeks, I flew back to Toronto, grabbed my stuff from my mom's place, packed up my car, and made the cross-country journey to Vancouver from Toronto. And this was right at the point when things were starting to shut down. So right at this pivotal point when I was deciding, okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go live in Vancouver. I was given the opportunity again to listen to my mind or to follow my soul. In my mind, it didn't make sense. There was so much uncertainty. There's this virus that has appeared on the scene. Things are shutting down. Borders are closing. The world is going on lockdown. And I'm about to drive across the country to go live in a place where I don't know anybody because it feels like the right thing to do. And that was another moment of having to rely on my nervous system to hold me, to regulate, to find out what was the next right step for me, what was the truest thing that wanted to come through. Even though my mind was kicking up a fuss, even though there was all these feelings of uncertainty and this inner chaos and this outer chaos that was the experience, there was this really calm, deep sense of rootedness, this knowing that this was the right move for me. So I made the drive across the country solo in March of 2020 and landed in Vancouver right as everything was shutting down. So literally you can imagine me driving across the country as like province by province by province was shutting down. I left Ontario, lockdown, like literally the next day. As I drove through Saskatchewan, lockdown the next day, and so on until I got to BC. And when I landed in BC, lockdown. So here I was in this brand new city, one of my dreams coming true, but in circumstances that I never would have imagined. I had nobody to hang out with, nobody to rely on, no sense of community, but I had this really deep sense of home. I felt like this grounding, this exhale once I arrived. And for the next few months, I was in my solitude, just processing the experience, watching the world as it got crazier and crazier, and feeling more and more anchored within myself because I had the tools to regulate my nervous system. Because I was able to understand the signals that my mind was sending to my body, the signals that my body was responding to in response to the information that was coming in from news sources, from family, from social media. And I was able to hold all of that because I had been able to build my energetic capacity to hold that much energy in motion, and my emotional intelligence to be able to regulate my emotions so that I could think clearly and make decisions that made sense. Not necessarily make sense to my mind, which was wanting to always revert back to survival mode or the safest option, but really making decisions that made sense to my soul, that part of me that was aligned with the greater vision for my life, my dreams, my hopes, my aspirations, and the impact that I'm meant to make in the world. So over the course of 2 years navigating COVID in a new city, not knowing anybody, I have had 2 of the best years of my life. I have made all of those dreams come true, that sense of home, that sense of community, that sense of rootedness that I was looking for and trying to make happen in a place that wasn't meant for me. It ended up happening in a place that I didn't even know was possible. And what I want to share with you, or what I want to kind of distill down from this experience, is that when you're regulating your nervous system, when you know how to navigate the mind-body connection, when you understand the signals that are going from the outside world into your mind, processed through your body, and then reverted back to your mind, when you know how to control that cycle, you have greater control over your internal world, and that gives you the control over your external world. You might not be able to change everything that's happening all around you, but you can change the way that you respond to it. And when you change the way that you respond to it, you're able to move in alignment with your soul, with your highest calling, and the frequencies of a higher frequency. So instead of operating out of fear, out of scarcity, out of uncertainty, you're operating out of truth, out of confidence, out of clarity. You're able to extend compassion. You're able to extend grace and acceptance and love to others instead of projecting out your fears, your internal anxieties, and the reactions that are coming from a fearful place. So I've put everything that I've learned over the course of my journey through the last 2 years, but really the journey of my life, navigating things like disability, navigating things like divorce, navigating things like relationships changing, navigating things of like uncertainty, and building a life that is outside of the parameters of the norm, or what most people would expect, or what I think I should do because other people are doing, and instead really creating a life that feels authentic, aligned, and inspiring to me. As a result, that creates a positive ripple effect to the people in my world, the people that I encounter, because I'm able to come from a place of centered groundedness within myself without projecting out these these fears or frustrations that we so often get trapped in. So I'm inviting you to join me on March 5th for the Mind Body Masterclass. It is going to be an incredible experience of embodied practice, of tools to quiet your anxious mind, to connect into your body so that you can start to respond to the signals between your instinct of survival and your soul's call for expansion, so that you too can come from this grounded, clear, certain place and create a life that feels fulfilling, that feels liberating, that feels inspiring, even when there's chaos going on around you, even when things are incredibly uncertain, even when things are changing rapidly. This is available to you at any moment you choose to come back to yourself, at any moment you choose to anchor into your truth, to access your power, and to live in your purpose. So if this sounds like something that you are interested in, I would be so honored to guide you through the process of coming back home to yourself, of regulating your nervous system, of learning exactly what it takes to connect your mind and your body in a way that frees your energy and allows you to be the creative force within your life, and to leave a positive imprint on the people around you. So I'm inviting you once again to join me on Saturday, March 5th for the Mind Body Masterclass. If you can't attend the masterclass live, you will have access to the recording for a lifetime. So you can watch it anytime you want. You can watch it as many times as you want. And these are tools and practices that you're going to be able to apply in your life, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, whether you are going after a really big dream that feels scary and doesn't really make sense in your mind, but your soul is calling you forward, or you're navigating the day-to-day of a rapidly changing world, or you just want to feel more inner peace as you move through your life, as you move through the world. This is a all levels masterclass, and I am so excited to be sharing this information, to be teaching in this way, and to be bringing this information to you. So I hope to see you on Saturday, March 5th. And in the meantime, I'm sending you so much love. Mwah.